Hey guys, welcome back to Zane's Cooking Show, and today we'll be making pizza. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees and collect all preferred toppings. Prepare the dough and squeeze out the air bubbles. This kinda reminds me of June 9th, 2022, where the Russian government tried squeezing out the domestic terrorists who've hacked public and military radio waves to spread anti-war songs. However, the government didn't manage to catch and identify them. Why? Because of one simple problem. They were anonymous. With the fast-paced evolution of technology, it seems that every positive product can be twisted to be used negatively. Dynamite, for example, an invention originally created to clear tunnels for miners, was adapted to be used as a weapon for terrorism and war. The internet can be seen as another example as one of these double-edged swords. As vast interconnection of people and ideas can now be shared, it has also been used as a tool to spread hate and incite violence in the real world. Although it has caused issues such as cyberbullying and online commerce of illegal goods, many people wish to preserve and protect it from recent government prospects of eroding this anonymity. But why do people wish to defend it? Is it really beneficial enough to ignore the cons that come with it? Or is there a way to mitigate the cons while also preserving personal privacy? Let's find out. If you've been on Twitter recently, you would have without a doubt heard of the viral #Dream face reveal, as it has gone on to become #1 on trending. But who is Dream? Let me tell you.
Hi. It feels so awkward talking to a camera for the first time. Hi, my name is Clay, otherwise known as Dream online.
Dream is primarily a Minecraft YouTuber who started rising in popularity in around 2019 to 2020, and from there has kept on climbing. As of now, he has amassed around 30 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, with a fanbase that could only be described as intense. But we'll get right back to that. What has been the biggest anomaly for many is that even with his tremendous amount of success, he, contrary to many other micro-celebrities of his caliber, managed to keep his life fairly private, to the extent that even his face was unknown to the public, a feat that many of his peers in the YouTube space have been unable to do and reach his level of fame. But enough dream writing, let's get back to his fanbase, as it is the reason that could potentially explain the rather strong opinions that have been shared about Dream's face. With the game that Dream's channel focuses on being Minecraft, it was basically inevitable that he would end up with a fanbase that would be primarily comprised of children to young teens, with the average age of viewers being around 14 years old. At this impressionable age, we are at a sensitive period of our lives where we try to figure out who we are and form our own identity, and in some way, Dream, a YouTuber, managed to make a community that uses him as part of their identity. The problem that many people have with this, that can explain much of the hate that Dream has been facing, is that these Dream stans, as they call themselves, would literally go to war to defend him, with many cases of people getting doxxed and harassed for criticizing Dream. All this festered to a sort of hate for the Dream community, by extension Dream, who has never outwardly condemned this sort of behavior. And when the time came for Dream's legendary face reveal, now, how does this all relate to online anonymity, I hear you asking? Well, Dream is a pretty attractive fellow, or at least a normal-looking guy, right? From the thousands of people berating him, you'd think that he was some vicious troll. I'm sure most wouldn't have been photo modeling Zac Efrons to be able to give such criticism. But because most people are relatively anonymous online, it creates a power dynamic where they are given the opportunity to belittle and berate. Cyberbullying isn't the only problem that online anonymity has been used for. A lot of the selling and distribution of illegal drugs has migrated from dark alleys to the dark web, a term referring to encrypted online content that can't be accessed by your everyday search engine like Chrome or Safari. Accessing the dark web can only be done using specific browsers such as Tor browser, which gives you a great deal of privacy and anonymity when browsing. When looking at one of the most infamous sites on the dark web, known as the Silk Road, that still holds prevalence almost 6 years after its downfall due to the arrest of Ross Ulbricht, the owner of the site, by the Federal Bureau of Intelligence. I recommend the video The Dark Side of the Silk Road by Barely Sociable if you want more detail on the matter. But essentially, what Ulbricht managed to do was create the foundation that set the precedence for future online drug markets, as it gave way for the idea of the Silk Road model that would ideally cut out the middleman, being the drug dealer, altogether, as it would go from the manufacturer/grower straight to the consumer. This combination of increased anonymity and cost reduction for producers attracted thousands of people who would sell drugs on the site. The site provided the vital anonymity that both the buyers and vendors needed, which was helped by the fact that currency used on the Silk Road was primarily the cryptocurrency Bitcoin, which feeds anonymity, as for the most part, those who sends or receives Bitcoin cannot be traced. Cyberbullies, or more commonly known as trolls, have reached the radar of governments when in October 2021, Prime Minister at the time, Scott Morrison, slammed social media giants such as Twitter and Instagram for providing a coward's palace, as quoted by him, for anonymous trolls to abuse people online and spread misinformation. Morrison warned social media platforms that they may become liable for defamation as publishers if they do not unmask anonymous users, but many who are critical of the speech worry that it wouldn't be as simple as making people use their real names. An argument that has been presented is that there is little evidence to suggest that stripping away anonymity would actually reduce the amount of trolling online. The idea of fake facts being spread due to online anonymity can also be contended with the outcome of South Korea's new law requiring users to provide identification before posting on election-related websites. Studies found no significant evidence to indicate that doing so prevented the spread of misinformation. To see the effectiveness of taking away online anonymity, we can just look at the results of Facebook's real name policy as a case study. If you have been on Facebook, you would know that such tactics has not prevented harassment and abuse on the platform, nor has it stopped the spread of misinformation. The battle against anonymity isn't something new. Governments all over the world often suggested removing online anonymity or implementing real name policies, with the assumption that doing so would reduce online harms. It was only last year in April that the proposal from Scott Morrison to require 100 points of ID in order to operate a social media account as a way to minimize abuse. Not only was this met with criticism from experts of privacy and security, it was also the very same week that news broke of Facebook's biggest data breach yet, as they revealed the personal information of over 500 million users. The coincidence of these two events occurring at relatively the same time should be taken as a warning of the risk of forcing users to provide official documentation to social media companies. What should also be taken into consideration is the comfort groups of people such as the LGBT community finds from being able to express who they are without fear of ostracization from the communities, thanks to anonymity. Even beyond this, anonymity can be vital for a person's personal safety, as people like victim survivors of family violence rely on it to avoid abuse and harassment from perpetrators. Lawyers also use anonymity in their careers, as their private life must be disconnected from their online identity as a means of negating clients from finding and interacting with them or their families online. There are many other cases where online anonymity is used for valid reasons that should not be judged so quickly. It isn't fair to assume that people who wish to preserve anonymity are the ones who have something to hide, as it is a simplistic assumption. Yes, there are bad people who use online anonymity in order to spread hate and misinformation, but we should also remember that with the internet becoming so integrated into our lives, it has become entangled with people's identity, and simple solutions just isn't going to cut it.